Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome to Ordinary to Badass, episode number 182. In this episode, we're going to talk about why Catherine Dummitt is so badass. Now, I hope that you listened to last episode, but if you were short on time and you just want to get to the nitty gritty and hear the recap or why she's so badass, then definitely tune in to this episode. Catherine is the VP of Marketing at Navar, and she's a leader in post-purchase experiences. But we talked so much about women in the workplace and like issues that we face. So definitely go back, check out that episode. But again, if you're short on time, just listen to this. And I'm sure that you're going to want to check out the previous episode if you haven't already. Okay, so we're going to get to the episode and you're going to hear all about why Catherine is so badass. But before we do, I got to talk to you. I got to find out what's going on with you. So, well, maybe not what's going on with you, but what you prefer. I want to know your preferences. I recently heard that podcasts, people prefer them to be 30 minutes, like a quick in and out, get it done. And I wanted to know if that was true for you. Do you like the length of the podcast? Usually they're about 45 minutes, sometimes a little bit under, sometimes a little bit over, but it usually lands around the 45-minute mark. But would you prefer the episodes to be shorter? Would you prefer them to be longer? Do you want them to stay the same? I want to hear from you. I'm going to put the poll up on Spotify. So if you're a Spotify user, definitely go check it out or download the Spotify app and then answer the poll because I want to know what works best for you. Certain things are going to fit better into your schedule and other things not. And so if this would be more beneficial for you to be 30 minutes, or if you'd prefer for it to be an hour, then let me know that too. So that way I can adjust because I want to definitely give the most benefit, the most value to you. So I would be so grateful if you went on to Spotify and did the poll. Let me know. Do you want it to be the same amount of time, less time, or more time? All right, with that, let me get to the episode. Welcome to Ordinary to Badass. Whether you're ordinary or badass, I am so glad you're here. Today, I'm going to share 3 reasons why Catherine Dummitt is so badass. So, let me just tell you the 3 reasons right up front so we get down to it, and then I'll go into detail about them. The first reason why Catherine's so badass is because she's her own advocate and best cheerleader. The second reason is she's not afraid to stand out, even when that makes her unpopular. And third, she started identifying herself as an expert. All right, let's get into it. So the first reason why Catherine is so badass is because she's her own cheerleader. She's her best advocate. Man, so often we are afraid to talk to ourselves and to pump ourselves up, and we treat ourselves worse than we treat our worst enemy, right? And Catherine says, no, be your advocate, be your cheerleader. When it comes to work, then stand up for yourself. You have to advocate for yourself. If you're weak, not weak, but like if you come across with no confidence, then other people might not have the confidence in you. So be your own cheerleader. Root yourself on in your head. And Catherine even said, like, fake it till you make it. And something else that she had mentioned was the reverse golden rule. Take a step back and treat yourself and others with respect. And then here's the biggie that she said that's really important is treat yourself with the same respect that you treat others. Again, are you treating other people, your worst enemies even, better than you're treating yourself? There is something to be said about standing up for yourself, rooting yourself on, being your own cheerleader. And, I was just talking to my friend about this the other night because we both do self-talk, right? And try to talk ourselves through the positive things or the good things. And here's an example. My garage door broke, right? And I was getting so frustrated. Like, I am not Little Miss Fix-It by any means. I wouldn't care to fix things if I didn't have to. But you know what? It's got to be done, right? And I don't want to hire somebody to do it every single time. So therefore, I will try to fix it. But I just had a rough day, and then that topped it off, like the garage door breaking. And so I had to be like, Marie, you're doing a good job. You will get this. You can take a break if you need to. Come back to it. But you are strong. You are smart. You will figure this out. And like saying things to yourself to like root yourself on instead of like, oh, you're suck at this. You'll never figure it out. You'll bomb it. And not to say that those moments don't ever creep in, but I am definitely more intentional, and times more often than they ever used to creep in where I'm like rooting myself on or like telling myself these positive things. It makes a world of difference. And so if you're like Catherine, and I mean, she's a badass at business, right? A badass at marketing. And she like cheers herself on and pumps herself up before even going into a meeting or before doing certain things. So you do have to be your own advocate. You have to root for yourself. And another thing she said is like, she will dance, like listen to her favorite music before going into a meeting or something that she's intimidated by. So yeah, throw on your favorite jam and like have a dance or sing along, shout it out, whatever it is. Do something so that you feel good about yourself and remind yourself like you are good at this. You are capable. You can conquer this. And don't be afraid to like say those things to yourself. And sometimes it's just about setting yourself up for success. So I feel like I would be amiss here or be steering you wrong if I didn't talk about the I Am a Badass glasses. Of course, you can always throw on some music, or you can throw on like the I Am a Badass glasses, anything to remind yourself, to cheerlead yourself on, to be like, oh, I am a badass. I got this. I can do this. And so sometimes you just need little reminders of it. But I digress. I thought that was super badass about Catherine, that she is her own advocate and she stands up for herself and roots herself on. So, are you rooting yourself on in your life? Are you being your own cheerleader? Yeah, and as I said that reminded me, like, are you the critic or are you the cheerleader for yourself? That's a big one, right? And I think as long as you're in the arena doing work, as long as you're doing the best that you can, then you should cheerlead yourself on. And if you suck, if you fail, then just evaluate it and come back to it. It doesn't mean that you're always going to suck. Like they say, practice makes perfect. The more reps you get in, the better it will be. Previously, we had Haley Whitehead on the episode, and she said if she does like a presentation and she sucks or she stumbles over herself, then, or has to be corrected by somebody else when she's given the presentation, somebody else has to correct her. Then she said, instead of focusing on that, she goes back to the drawing board and says, how can I prepare better for next time to make sure that I'm more competent in my speaking or tone? Or what about the technical aspect? What about the technical aspects am I not understanding? And who do I need to find to make sure that the next time I'm better prepared from the technical perspective? So again, you're hearing from Haley, you're hearing from Catherine, like they are badasses. Instead of picking themselves apart, instead of talking down to themselves, they're rooting themselves on, or they're thinking, what can I do? Who can I ask? How can I improve? And just looking at it from a different lens, a different perspective. And that completely can open the world for you. So instead of like being like, oh, I suck, I'm horrible, I can't do this, I made this mistake, somebody pointed this out. No. Like, tell yourself, I am strong. I got this. I can do this. And then who can I ask for help? What can I improve upon for next time? Take it as a learning moment. But also, like, be a freaking cheerleader. You've heard two badasses, and I'm sure way more badasses than that have been on the show that have mentioned this topic, but Haley was just what came to mind. So be your own cheerleader. Seriously. If you're not going to be your cheerleader, who will? It's time to root for you. It's time to cheer yourself on. All right, let's get to number 2. The second reason why Catherine is such a badass is because she's not afraid to stand out, even when it makes her unpopular. Man, it is so easy to try to fit in. It's like, as kids, we learn to just fit in, to assimilate, to be like other people and do what they do. And that way we don't get picked on or made fun of. And then somehow that carries with us throughout life. So I loved it when Catherine is just like standing out, doing the things that she wants to do, even if it makes her unpopular. An example of this is how Catherine wouldn't go out to drinks with the guys at work. She's like, it just didn't feel right. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. Like, she was killing it at work, being a total boss or being a total badass. And yeah, she wanted to fit in. She wanted to be cool. Even if the people around her weren't that cool, it's like, it always feels good to fit in with the people around you or the people you have to hang out with every single day, right? But Catherine said, we often do things that are out of character because we want to fit in, and it's really important. But she said to just take a step back and realize that you work for a company. That company doesn't control your whole life, or they don't have the authority to define you and what you want to do. You don't have to fit in. And like Catherine said, stay authentic to yourself. Because at the end of the day, you're the only one that has to answer to yourself. Other people do not have to. So when you go to bed, you have to answer to the decisions you made that day, right? So they might as well be in line with your values and who you are and be authentic to you, because otherwise you're going to have problems sleeping at night and it's just going to be like a weight on your shoulders. I think we've all done things that we're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have made that decision. And so we kind of go back on ourselves or and just torment ourselves over the decisions that we make. But who cares? If it doesn't align with your values, then it's a no. It's not just a no, it's a hell no, right? Because it doesn't align with your values. So it's not going to ever sit right with you, or it's not going to feel right. And then you have the whole other thing. It's like, once you compromise your values, then you're more willing to compromise it the next time and the next time and the next time. And you start to really just like bury yourself. You start to forget who you are. So I love that Catherine has not been afraid to like stand up for herself and to do the things, even if it made her unpopular, right? Even if it made her be the outcast at work, she still made the hard decision. She still did the thing. So are you standing up for yourself? Are you doing what's right for your inner guidance system and focusing on what's right for you as opposed to what other people will think? It's not easy. It's 100% not easy. But man, that's pretty badass if you can stand up for yourself and stand out even when it's unpopular, even when it's not cool. I mean, Martin Luther King Jr., I can't imagine, well, I know what he was doing at the time was not necessarily popular. It was popular with a certain group of people, right? But it wasn't popular to everybody. But now it's like, man, that is badass. Like, he really stood up for himself and he stood up for his values and stood up for what he knew was right. And now he's an icon, right? Like, he did amazing things and made amazing changes. But to do that, he had to be unpopular. All right, number 3. The third reason why Catherine is so badass, because she started identifying herself as the expert. And so Catherine talked about going into a room and she was going to talk about something, and somebody told her about this, right? Like, she went into a room to do a marketing presentation, and she was doing a presentation to a group of people that were in sales or like account managers, and she was the only marketer. And she was really the only person that knew marketing, but she was just doing a pitch to other people. So everybody else is just subjectively giving them her opinion, she said. So she had to remind herself, like, no, I'm the expert. I'm the one that knows this stuff. I know this stuff better than anybody else knows with it, or better than anybody else knows it. And then just run with it. Own it. And I love that, how she like just run with it and own it. That's obviously own it and get after it. It's a badass thing, right? So that helped her get over her imposter syndrome. And imposter syndrome can be like that feeling like you're not capable, you're not good enough, that you'll never make it, you don't have the right qualities, or you're not confident enough, or whatever the reason, right? You think that you're not good enough to be doing it, and you always compare yourself to other people. That's imposter syndrome. But what if you start being like, oh, I am the expert. I can do this. The other people might be giving their opinions, but they don't know. I'm the one that was trained in this. So, are you identifying yourself as an expert? Where in your life are you an expert, but you're not identifying as it? So, like, if you're doing something and you've been doing it for a long time, and maybe you do have to give presentations to other people, or you have to explain something to your boss or to somebody else, you're going to be an expert in your own right. But are you identifying yourself as such? Like, sometimes just these small mindset tweaks can have huge, gigantic results. They can make the world of change for you, because seeing yourself as an expert is way more positive than seeing yourself as sucking or making mistakes or as a newbie or finding faults in what you're doing. But if you see yourself as the expert, you're like, oh yeah, I was trained in this. I know this. So it might not be marketing, it might not be sales, but you know what you're doing. And if you're a parent, you're probably an expert at being a parent, right? You're an expert at being a mother. Even if you've only been a mother for 30 days, you're still figuring it out. You're a step ahead of somebody who hasn't had any kids. You're still an expert compared to them, right? But look at your experience in different areas of your life, and how can you find the expert in you? How can you realize that you are an expert? Because you are. So, like I said earlier, or a minute ago, if you have done it longer than somebody else has done it, you're probably more of an expert than they are. So I thought that was so badass that Catherine started identifying herself as an expert. And then you know what followed? Confidence. Confidence in her ability. And then she said that that was empowering. That was encouraging, to realize all the power that she had. So next time you're walking into a room, figure out where you're the expert. And, maybe say you're an introvert, right? And you walk into a party, maybe you're the expert at listening, or maybe you're the expert at asking good questions. You can ask questions about somebody else so you don't have to do all the talking, but you can still be an expert. Or if you're in a boardroom or a business meeting with people, where are you the expert? What do you know that other people don't know? And then own that expertise, because you are such a badass. I want you to realize it. I want you to sink in, or I want this to sink in, because it's so huge. All right, let's do a quick recap. 3 reasons why Catherine Dummitt is so badass. First is she's her own advocate and best cheerleader. Second, she's not afraid to stand out, even when it makes her unpopular. And third is she started identifying herself as the expert. So if you like this episode as much as I did, then man, take a screenshot of it, throw it on Instagram, and let Catherine and I know what you thought of it. I'm at Ordinary to Badass I can be found at Ordinary to Badass. And Catherine is Babs_duh. So BABS_DU8. Take a screenshot and throw it in your Instagram stories and let us know what you thought of the episode. If Catherine taught you something or made you think a different way about something, maybe you're going to try something new, right? Let her know. And of course, I want the feedback too. So tag me at Ordinary to Badass as well. And then Catherine at Babs_duh. But let us know what your takeaways were, what you learned, what you're going to try differently. Maybe you viewed something differently from hearing her. I love the women or the badasses that come on the show and agree to share with us. But a huge part of it is letting them know the impact that they're having. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being vulnerable and telling us your story. It's so important. You'd be surprised how little people hear that, right? So I would be grateful as part of this community if you vocalized what her episode meant to you and what you learned from what she had to share. And yeah, with that, we'll end our show. To all the badass women out there staying in the arena, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, own it and get after it.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast, and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass and get the chance to be on a future spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.